it is day 21. That means we are on our last day of our third week of our 4-week series, New Year Healthy Habits. Thank you so much for sticking along with me. Today we're going to be looking at one more article for our Evidence-Based Medicine Week. And the article that we're looking at today is revolving around our sixth pillar of lifestyle medicine, which is social connection or social connectivity. So let's get going on this article. Today we're going to be looking at an article titled The Influence of Source of Social Support and Size of Social Network in All-Cause Mortality. So the population assessed in this study are adults aged 18 to 90 years old who participated in the Aerobic Center longitudinal study at Cooper Clinic in Dallas, Texas. These sample, kind of mostly consisted of well-educated, employed individuals, kind of higher socioeconomic status in this Cooper Clinic, Dallas, Texas specifically, and they were already kind of involved in a social network of some sort, being participants of the aerobic center. So potential some confounding there just to start off the bat. But we'll keep going. We'll proceed. We have our intervention is a receipt of social support from different sources and the size of social networks. So these people were asked to kind of write down and answer some questionnaires revolving around their social support and the size of their social network that they interact with on the daily basis. And then the comparison, participants who reported not having social support from relatives, friends, spouse, partner, etc., versus, participants who reported having social support. And then the outcome, kind of what they looked at in these different groups was all-cause mortality risks over a follow-up period of about 13 and a half years. With specific attention as to how different sources of social support and the size of the network influence mortality risk. So all-cause mortality was collected through the National Death Index records to track deaths over the study period and relate them to the baseline measures of social support and network size. In terms of all-cause mortality, they did not specifically look at different diseases or different criteria. It was strictly just deaths over the 13 and a half year period. So here are some of the figures from the study. The top figure is a little bit challenging to look at, so we're mostly going to look at the bottom figure. But essentially, what we're looking at is participants who reported receiving social support from relatives, spouses, partners had a 19% lower risk of mortality compared to those who did not receive social support. So basically, let's look at the graph on the bottom. So the graph on the bottom, we have the x-axis, or the horizontal axis, is the number of close friends. So it's grouped 0 to 1, 2 to 3, 4 to 5, 6 to 7, and 8 plus. And the y-axis, or the vertical axis, is the mortality hazards ratio. So we can see here that the bars, like the size of the bar, so starting with the dark black, 0 to 1 number of close friends, versus the white, which is 8 plus, increases in the size of social network as we go across the x-axis. But we can see the mortality hazards ratio is actually kind of decreasing until we get to that 8 plus number of friends. And it was actually statistically significant that the 6 to 7 number of friends size of a social group was actually statistically significant and a lower risk of mortality compared to those who had contact with one or fewer friends. So this is interesting because it shows that maybe you have increased benefit, or lower risk of mortality as your social circle gets bigger. However, this might get capped out at a certain point, showing that with 8 plus friends or number of close friends in your social circle, your mortality actually increases. So this could show that maybe there's a quality versus quantity type aspect to our social circles. Where, having more than 8 friends did not show an increase or any significant association with mortality risk. So kind of an interesting study. Some of the limitations: the sample population consisted of participants who were predominantly well-educated and employed, kind of limiting some of the generalizability of the findings. there were a lot of unmeasured confounding variables. So, like I said before, they really just looked at mortality. They did not look at morbidity, which is basically kind of quality of life characteristics of these individuals. So there was nothing that related to or analyzed the effects of socioeconomic status, mental health status, or other health behaviors. So this could be a major confounder or kind of a lack of analyzing some of these variables in this study. Cultural considerations as well. So the study was conducted within a very specific cultural context. All of these individuals were kind of part of the same group to begin with. So different cultural norms regarding social support, networking, were not really accounted for in this study. And then potential for reverse causation. While the study was longitudinal, there remains a possibility that individuals with declining health may experience reductions in social support and network size rather than low social support, leading to increased mortality risk. So again, kind of a chicken versus the egg scenario. So as maybe we age and as maybe our health declines, does our social circle kind of naturally wean to a smaller amount? And is that more responsible as to a smaller social circle, or is the smaller social circle responsible for the declining health? Kind of a limitation in this study, but definitely something that would be worth further investigation. So I hope this was fun. This week was really interesting to me, analyzing some of these pieces of literature, and I hope you found it interesting as well. Next week, we're going to kind of put some things into practice as we go back through our 6 pillars of lifestyle medicine. Again, we're 3 weeks in. We got 1 more week to go. You guys are all doing amazing. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I'll see you tomorrow.